Pelosi versus MNUCHIN. The numbers that I had been discussing over the last couple of days that were separating Pelosi and MNUCHIN got closer. We now realize, in numbers released from NBC News, that Pelosi and MNUCHIN were actually closer than we thought in the last 48 hours. In fact, MNUCHIN raised his numbers to exactly what this channel has been calling for, virtually across the board. So if MNUCHIN exactly where I've been calling him to be almost at, the question is, why did the temple reject it? Why did the Temple of Doom call it doomsday? And could there be stimulus relief? And is this all game playing? Or is there still hope for executive order? This is Pelosi versus MNUCHIN. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is an afternoon edition of Pelosi versus MNUCHIN, a day in which there's a lot of twists and turns, with deal items from MNUCHIN released by NBC News. I will be going over them and how improved they are across the board. But why were they rejected by the Temple of Doom other than simply she doesn't want to do a deal? A lot of big twists and turns and more calls of action for executive orders. Go to front of this channel, subscribe because, boy, we need to get through this together, and we are going to get through this together. If you're not publicly subscribed, go into the pinned comment below that shows how to make sure that you're publicly subscribed so I see you're a subscriber, and I respond first quicker to people who are publicly subscribed than those who are not. Also, like this video. Coming up in this video, I will be going over more about that incredible deal offer that Steve Mnuchin gave, that was 1.8 trillion, that rose numbers across the board. They were better. They were a lot better. They're more in line to what I've been calling for. They're not exactly perfect, but they are a big improvement. And the question is, why did she reject it? All right, let's get to the breaking details. The breaking news today is that Steve Mnuchin did a lot of stuff that the Purple Power had been calling for him to do. A lot of the stuff that I've been reporting on this channel for him to do. The question is why he didn't go all the way. All right, let me get to them. First, stay in a local. Stay in the local, stay in the local, stay in the local. He had been at $200 billion in the $1.6 trillion offer, the prior offer. I did not understand that, and I said, Steve, what are you doing? Mark Meadows said the president would offer 300. Why are you offering 200? Temple Doom's at 400. 400 is too high. 300 is just right. In fact, Moody's Analytics and Governors Association's reports say that 150 is all you need, so 300 is totally fine. Well, latest offer, he came up to 300 billion. Exactly what I had been telling him to do. Next, stimulus checks. I said, Steve, you have the dependent checks at 500. That's not going to cut it, Steve. Come to $1,200 for dependence checks. And you know what, Steve? Make sure there's two checks, like the Problem Solvers bill. Well, he didn't do the double check, but he did raise children's checks to $1,000. Now, I know you're saying things like, okay, what is children's checks? Like, we don't need another name or another category. It appears that, based upon the way the NBC News report is written, which seems to be the choice of words of a reporter, not the confusion of MNUCHIN, that if you are an adult, whether you're an adult dependent or an adult, just an adult non-dependent, you would get a full stimulus check, $1,200. And that it's only children who are dependents that we're talking about. They would get $1,000. Thank God. This finally puts all people on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits who are adult dependents who didn't get a first stimulus check at $1,200. It would only leave dependent children at $1,000 rather than $500. This incredibly big improvement. So what did Mnuchin do in this latest offer? Well, he included every time I say this, I can't keep a straight face. He included airlines because they've been calling him every single day, which he said for several weeks. And they've been asking for $28 billion, and every single major airline executive has said 28, 28, 20, 28. So what did he do? 20. He cheated them out of an extra $8 billion just because they were a pain in the butt. You call me too many times on the phone, airlines. If you had stopped calling me all the time, I might have given you the $28 billion, but I gave you 20. They just, I don't know. When I saw that number, I'm like, oh, that's a real, yeah. Travel. The lodging industry, apparently some hotels got to Steve. Maybe he was staying at Marriott. Maybe he's staying at the Motel 6. I don't know who got him on the phone. But hotel industry got to Mr. MNUCHIN, and they're getting $20 billion. Now, the broadband one is the one that I just look at and I'm like, okay, so he's adding $15 billion for broadband. How about we give broadband away for free, and then you give a nice tax write-off to the companies that gave away for free? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? Just give, Charter like a nice, $500 million tax write-off, and they'll give everyone free broadband. It's just, and what is $15 billion for broadband? Is that free internet to the pandemic's over? What is it? Is that free broadband to watch NeNe Leakes' new music video? I mean, what is that? What is that? Is that $15 billion to watch old reruns of Devil Wears Prada, which Steve Mnuchin executive produced? Yeah, he actually did. Well, the rest of the numbers are a little bit crazy. PPP, $330 billion. Now, you got to understand here, people. PPP is not on their second stimulus package now. PPP is on their 20th PPP package. There have been so many PPP packages since this pandemic started. The latest one is, again, another one, 330. Yet, and every time they have a PPP, let me make this also more crazy. Hopefully the commission doesn't call me the crazy commission. Every time there's a PPP provision in these bills, it's enormous. This one's 330 billion. It's like the whole damn bill. It's PPP. And every time there's all this money, no one wants it. It just sits there, and the money's unused. And after it's unused, then you have what's going on with my channel, which is there's unused PPP. Can we get the money used for? No, you can't use that unused PPP money. It's just going to sit there forever. You know what you should do for this PPP? Let's just make it $100 billion. And if you need more money, come back. Because all they do is throw in extra PPP. And then after it's unused, then no one can agree upon how it's unused. And people wonder why I'm not in politics. This seems so obvious. Obvious. Now, Temple Doom had a problem with everything that's with children. Everything was with children. Children going hungry, children going hungry. There's not enough money to crush the virus, and we're children here. So student loan forgiveness, that's not children. Childcare, $25 billion. Need more money for childcare. Okay. I don't know how you value childcare. I don't know how you come up with. I don't know how you know if $25 billion is enough or $60 billion. I don't know how you know how much childcare you need. But apparently you don't mean much minority lending. This is a real call to action because minorities were shut out of lending programs the first two times around. And guess what? They're being given the least amount of money for anything you see on this package, $10 billion. Temple Doom has a problem with testing, tracing, vaccine, and healthcare providers, $175 billion, because we're not crushing the virus. Guess what? Maybe we shouldn't have to crush the virus, because this is just a stimulus package to get us from here to January. And I don't think we're going to crush the virus in the next few weeks. We just need some stimulus to pay rent. And after we can pay our rent, then we can crush the virus. It's just... needless to say, there's improvement. There's improvement across the board. The NBC report says that the $1.8 trillion proposal presented by Mnuchin and Pelosi is not just an increase of $200 billion from his last offer of $1.6, but also includes an increase in some of the Democrats' top preferences. You wonder who leaked this story. It's just so positive in favor of Steve Mnuchin, so it's horribly shady as to Pelosi. It mirrors in many ways the bipartisan House Problem Solvers Caucus bill released during a period of stalled negotiations. Well, no, it doesn't, but thank you for that false narrative. It provides extra money for state and local, $300 billion. That it does. Went from 200 to 300. It's, however, Pelosi called it sadly inadequate. It's not just inadequate, it's sadly inadequate. The offer expands FPUC to $400 a week until mid-January 2021 and retroactive to September 12th. It doesn't expand it the way it should, as I've been reporting all across these videos. It expands it to the future while leaving you unpaid for those weeks in July. So it's like, okay, we're gonna forget about the fact that you were unemployed in July and August and the first few weeks of September. We're just, if you're unemployed in the future, you'll get money. Just, hope you're unemployed. It's just, no, pay me for when I was unemployed. It doesn't make sense. Then instead of an expansion of EITC, the administration proposed more stimulus for children. It makes couples making $150,000, it's offering $1,000 per child, up from $500. Then it does its tax credits. Okay, good. That includes $110 billion more for postal and $20 billion for airlines and lodging. The bottom line as we sit here today is that MNUCHIN thinks it can be done. Wall Street Friday thought it can be done. I don't think it can be done. I think it's just Nancy leading everyone on. And ultimately, the question is, what do you think? Here's some of your 1,900 questions and comments from yesterday. Wade Harris, they failed American people over founding fathers. Our founding fathers would be ashamed. Magic Pumpkin, they need to say goodbye to their jobs. Helen McCamey, President Trump should go ahead and send stimulus. Bobby, vote everyone out. John R., in the 24 days of the riots, people would have lost their homes. John Bartlett, let's help America vote them all out. Monica, the president told the American people they are getting stimulus. Now we're not. Naomi, I'm done with these fools. JP, we won't have to worry about any of this after the election. Wally, the only people that cared about themselves these are the only people that cared about themselves. DJ Frank G, both sides fail for the American people. Mike Komensky, all they do is have failed the American people horribly. Linda Nelson, I can't believe our president let our country get in this shape. Other countries are looking at us and think this is a joke. It's Bjorn. You're doing a great job clarifying the murky waters of government insanity. Well, thank you. It's Bjorn. Margaret Latham. She doesn't want anything for the people. She doesn't want anything for the people never had. Mary Murphy. Trump needs to put the money where it is and do executive order. Gene. I'm definitely so furious that these politicians getting paid by the American people. It's Rinda. I'm being attacked. I wonder if Trump is letting Pelosi thinks his hands are tied right now. Jack Ferris. A day later, a dollar short vote. Sally, it'll come back and bite them as well. Don L. Exactly what this country has always been told. Two old people who don't care about anything. Okay. Linda G. Music. Without the people getting stimulus, there would be no restaurants, airlines, etc. Louis May. The president doesn't listen to anyone. Put up or shut up. You pretty much lost your chance unless you act in the next couple days. I loved that one, so I'm going to end on that one. What a day it has been. A lot of twists and turns. We understand more about the inroad fighting between the Republicans and the White House. We understand more about where MNUCHIN's numbers are. We understand the importance of executive orders, and we understand Purple Power needs to do its thing. Go to the Finance Channel, subscribe because we're getting things through, and we're understanding where we're going, and we're understanding what we got to do. And also like this video. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.